Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into the Pattison Ave Phanatics show. I am your host, Tom Kelly. No intro music this week. With me, as always, my man, James Scorza.
What's up?
Joseph Marks.
Ben Lever.
Dave Yarnold.
How's everybody doing today?
And Paul Spencer.
Yo.
All right, boys, before we get into the nightmare, which is our Philadelphia Sports Live, let's talk about some good things. Let's go into some of our sponsors. We can start off with fantees.com. If you go to fantees.com and you use the promo code EdgeOfPhilly, you get 20% off your order. And while you're making some online purchases, maybe you can hop on over to edgeofphilly.com and get yourself one of the great Edge of Philly hats. I was on vacation last week and rocking my EOP hats everywhere I went. They come in 4 different colors: green and cream, black and white, charcoal and red, and charcoal and orange. Let's get into some of the actually, real quick, and I don't have a graphic on here. We are from home this week as opposed to in studio, so I don't have all my normal stuff with me. But we want to talk real quick about Philly sports trips. The week of July 5th, which is coming on fast, if I remember this correctly off the top of my head, since I don't have the read in front of me, the Phils are playing at both Fenway and Wrigley in the same week. Don't miss out on a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity with your ticket, your everything included in your final price, your tailgate, beers before the game, food, and then the game. So if you go to phillysportstrips.com, you'll have more information, and it's probably worded better than I just butchered it right now in my intro.
Airfare, a hotel, food, drinks, game tickets,
awesome.
Flexible packages, 4-game series in Chicago, and 3-game series in Boston. So.
And that is what I'm talking about, teamwork and support, because I did not have that written down. Thank you, Joey. I appreciate it. Before we kick off our show, let's talk about some of the other great shows on the network. We'll start off with the boys over at the Broad Street Bullies podcast. Drew Doyle and Jeff, Sunday nights, 8 p.m. This Flyer season is mercifully over, but those boys are still bringing the knowledge and the laughs. I cannot forget my guys over at Bird's IQ. Kyle and Eric Quinn, they're on Sundays at 7 p.m. My guys, Jim Chetchesko and Bill, the Embiid hater, Furman, over in Philly Press Box Radio. They're on Wednesday nights at 7 p.m. Always a great watch. I tune in every week. And I can't forget my guys over at the Edge of Philly Sports Show. Big Al, Joey Sheeran, and Freddie Burns. They're on Wednesday nights at 9:30. Always have my dial set for those boys on Wednesday nights at 9:30. And for all you lacrosse heads out there, I cannot forget my guys, Kevin and Gary over at Lax Philly. There are some live shows that will be coming soon. They do a ton of articles, bunch of videos, and when we figure out when those live shows are coming, you folks out there will be the first to know. And now I want to give a real quick Small Business Saturday read here. This week's Small Business Saturday Spotlight, a lot of S's. It's Mac Fit Training, a friend of mine from growing up. His name's Michael Gillespie. We used to call him Benji. Michael has been doing fitness and athletic training for the past 6 years. He's currently working out of Swift Fit Gym in Port Richmond. That's 2445 East Tioga Street up in Port Richmond. From youth all the way up to pro athletes, Benji or Michael works with them all. You can track him down on Instagram at Mac_fit. His phone number is 215-251-0375. He offers individual personalized training and group training sessions. Like I said, he works with youth all the way up to pro athletes. So as well as everyday people who've decided to make healthy life changes through fitness. So please, again, reach out to my man, Michael Gillespie at MacFit Training, 215-251-0375, and on Instagram at Mac_fit. All right, boys. Guys, you guys crushed it last week. I tuned in. I listened to the show. Like I said, I was down the shore. It was awesome. There was a lot of great stuff to talk about. not quite as much great stuff to talk about this week, but we're still going to get into it anyway. Before I get into the Sixers, and this will basically be our kind of season in review, year end, hoorah. But, where do they go from here? Joe, I'm going to start with you, Joe. Where do the Sixers go from here?
I think they have to definitely bring in people to help with some of the inadequacies that some of this team has, mainly with Ben. With some of the things that he needs to work on, because we need to have him take a big jump forward. But outside of the obvious of that, I would also say that you're going to lose Mike Scott. There's a chance, which is fine. You're going to probably either have to make a big decision with Korkmaz with his contract because he was on a rookie deal. He's probably going to ask for more. The Danny Green re-signing, that's a question mark. Bringing Danny Green is going to be a very important back, and bringing Dwight Howard back are going to be a big moves in the right direction going forward because I feel like they brought a lot to the table.
I have a question for you, but I want to say something real quick. I want to say good morning to Rob Hefner out in Las Vegas. Rob, we appreciate you tuning in every week. And my man Big Al is on the case, Rob. We're getting you your Edge of Philly hat sent out to you to replace that one you lost a few years back. So don't want you to think I forgot about you, my brother. But Joey, to kind of touch back in on some of these some of these signings that they're going to have to look at and do. Do you think Seth Curry has now found a home after bouncing around to all these teams for so many years? Has he found a home here in Philly?
Yeah, absolutely. I think for him, he's found a home because they can set him up. He's had his best career year here this past year. He knows that he can become that perennial player that he's always wanted to be. Now, maybe not nearly to the elite status of his brother, but like still to a point where he can compete at a high enough level. And I feel like with that, with the pieces that are around in this team, he's a much better, maybe I'm wrong, but he's a much better version of J.J. Redick, who we had as our perennial three-point shooter. He's a much better version of that because he's more consistent. And I've said this before. When I first heard about Curry coming here, I'm like, well, at least it's a Curry. Maybe I'm glad it's not Del Curry, but at least it's a Curry.
That's true, Paul. Well, where does this team go from here? As you kind of sit back and look at the overview of this past season and everything.
Well, I agree with Joey a lot. I mean, Mike Scott, I think, is gone. Korkmaz, he's an iffy. He's on the border right there. I think he's going to ask for a little bit more money. Curry's found a home, but I think he's going to ask for a little bit more cash. Of course, he deserved it this year. He stepped up.
Well, he's on a 2-year deal.
I think they might renegotiate that just to keep him long term. Might as well do it. I mean, he stepped up. Dwight Howard, I mean, he was on what, $1.4 million, Joey?
Yeah.
I mean, I think he's going to ask for more money. I think he's going to be in that like $8 million range is what he's going to ask for now as a backup because he really is the best backup in the league for Embiid, But,
and I still think he deserves, and if that's what he wants, I think he deserves it. He earned it.
Yeah, I mean, I think he does too. He expelled Embiid in the paint, when he gave him his 10, 15 minutes, and he actually stepped up the entire game sometimes when Embiid was out. So
you felt like obviously there was a drop off with Embiid not being on the floor, but it wasn't quite as drastic as it could have been,
as it had been.
As it had been in recent years, for sure. Dave, I'm gonna kick it to you, and just where do you think this team goes from here?
Well, I think Howard definitely has to stay. That's for sure. They need a backup.
Oh, you like him that much? You want that definite? You like him that much?
Absolutely. Yeah, he has to stay. There's nobody other backup for him at this point in time. For me, I think honestly, Curry's got to stay. Definitely, they'll give him a definitely good deal for that. But I'm on the Korkmaz thing. I don't know. I mean, does he stay? I think he goes. Honestly, that's just my opinion. He doesn't play defense. His offense is okay, but for me, it's just this team. It's Doc Rivers. I mean, Doc Rivers has got. I don't know, like his playoff history is not the greatest, and I don't. I know he's going to stay, but I don't know. I'm on the fence with Doc right now.
I saw a stat prior to Game 7. Doc's record into Game 7, going into Game 7, was 6-8. I'm like, that's not something you go into Game 7 as a fan and see that record and feel confident about. I used to see Andy Reid's record outside coming off a bye week, and he was like undefeated for like 11, 12 years. And so you knew coming off of a bye week, okay, we could almost chalk up a W no matter who we were playing.
Right.
With Doc and Game 7s, now you're kind of like, well, I don't want a Game 7 if I'm the Sixers going forward, because now Doc's 6-9. I definitely don't want that percentage. That's not even close to where I want to sit in comfort.
I mean, he's going to stay. I get that. It's just that,
right.
I mean, I just don't want to continue what we've been doing, especially with Brett Brown. I mean, we get to the second round and we can't get past the second round. It's so annoying. I'm just,
It is, and I'm gonna get in. I'm gonna get into those second round questions in a minute, but I wanted to hear from James too. And sorry, I cut you off, James. But where do we go from here? Where does the Sixers team go from here in James Scores' eyes?
Man, that's a tough question because it's just that we expected so much more from the team this year, and I'm really disappointed about how they played. And I think, like I said, I hope and pray they keep Dwight Howard and Curry, and I think Danny Green might be probably on his way out. I mean, same thing with Korkmaz, and that's the thing what Dave said too. The thing about it that makes it even worse is that like Doc Rivers is coaching coaching playoff. If you can count it as a trade, maybe he's not been successful, and that's the one thing that's been concerning all year long. It's just that well, not all year long, but for like a long time, he's just every time we came past the second round for some reason. And I like I said, honestly, I don't know, but I mean, I hope the one thing I just want to say before anything else is just I think they have to get younger, but at the same time, they are younger. What am I talking about? But they have to have a better mindset going into next season that they're going to come out pissed off than they were this year.
That would be nice to see. I'm sorry, Dave. That would to see them angry would be refreshing. Yeah. Other than Embiid, you don't really see too many people on that team angry. Go ahead, Dave. Say
I mean, the 26-point lead you blew. Right. If you win that game, you win the series. It's over. You're in them. You're in the Eastern Conference Finals. It's just so annoying that you blew a 26 and an 18-point lead in 2 games. I mean, come on, it's frustrating.
Not only that, you'd be in the Eastern Conference Finals against the Bucks instead of Brooklyn.
And Milwaukee's so vanilla. My God, all they do is go to Giannis every single time. You know what he's going to do.
Yeah, and nobody's able to neutralize him. But you had enough players to throw at him. You could put Ben on him and really make things difficult for him.
Atlanta did what they had to do. They stole one up in Milwaukee. They did their job. They're coming back home. I get all that. But that could have been us, man. It's so annoying and frustrating. You watch this game, you're like, why is that? Why are we not there? Because Doc screwed up.
Since Nate McMillan took over that Hawks team, they're one of the best teams in basketball.
And he's still the interim coach. He's not.
Nate McMillan not
no fucking chance, dude. He's the head coach next year.
It's
no chance he's not.
Not even a question. It's unreal to me. But I still think today. I still think Phoenix is the team to beat. I do. They
are scary. All right, so
it's really good.
So we've waited. I waited almost 15 minutes. I'm done waiting. Joseph Francis Marks. Let's have it out. All right. Now it might not be a have it out. You maybe not. I don't know. I wrote this question down. I had it with you in mind. I'm going to kick it to you first, Joe. What happened to Ben Simmons in that particular series, in the series against the Hawks? What happened to Ben?
I'm a realist, and I as much as I can be a fan of anybody, and people know this of me, is like I'm a big critic when it comes down to if you don't show up, I'm going to call you on it. I've proven that with Claude Giroux, and I've proven that with a couple other players. Ben played scared. He played like a child, a petulant little 10-year-old child. He, he kind of was like, I'm going to hand it off and make it everyone else's responsibility to lose or win. I'm not going to put it in my hands, and I'm not going to take the reins. And it just seemed like he was scared of the moment. He was scared of the series. He was scared of the competition, and he was scared of his skill set. I mean, I put on the group text, and Tom, you commented on it, and I can agree with you. And but this is where I kind of add into it. And it was a video clip. I don't know how old it was, but it was a video clip I found on Instagram of Ben Simmons in a rec center game, and he was playing like I would like to have seen him played in the Hawks series.
Yeah, and that's right. And I commented on it. It's kind of easy to do that against guys at your local YMCA.
Right. Now, I respond to you like this. You could put me in an NBA game. You could put me in a rec center game. I'm going to shoot the exact same way.
Right. Also, there's a thing called editing, and we don't know how many of those shots were missed.
Right. And like, here's the thing. We don't also know if that was like 5 games in like the course of a whole day.
Right.
He did that in the course of a whole day. So I understand that too. But my feeling is this. Like, the fact that you can do that, and the fact that you have the confidence to do that, and the skill level to do that. I mean, I don't have skill in that way, but if you have the God-given ability to do that, I don't understand why you're not. Like, that's why I shy away from the idea that I know he's got the skill. It just frustrates me that he doesn't convey it.
Maybe it's just stage fright, Joey. You know, it's a lot easier in a small gym with a couple of people with cell phones than it is on national TV in front of 19.5, trying to do that same thing. Who, you know, if you chuck up a couple of shots and miss them, the boo birds are going to come out. Well, and I think a lot of that has to do with Ben's mental makeup.
I also think it had a lot to do with the fact that. And I think this is just a small portion of what it had to do with. Ben came up small, like you're saying, the big lights he turned off when they turned on. Maxey did the exact opposite.
Yeah.
And I feel like that showed him, okay, fine, he can do it, but I don't have to. No, you should want to do it. There was a Jordan quote, you don't seize the moment, you take the moment. He basically said he never waited for someone to give him the moment. He took it. He never waited for it. And right. So like that's the thing is Ben had his moments throughout that whole entire series. My only gripe, and I brought this up last week, and I feel like I'm reviewing things more and more about the series and about even the season. But there's not enough play calls run with Ben being the main guy on the play. There's not enough screen rolls to the basket. There's not enough, setting Ben up for the play. To not Ben setting up the play, setting up a play for Ben. I think so much is put on Ben's shoulders by either Doc Rivers or himself to just set up the offense and set up the play. Whereas he needs to be able to say, okay, we're going to do a high screen roll. You're going to come off the high screen roll off of Embiid, and you're going to go right down the wing. Or Ben likes to go off the baseline a lot. So making him work off ball and do that. That's why I had suggested that Maxey should be point guard and Ben should be 4 last week, because that would give Ben the better ability to work off the baseline.
It's hard to set up a play for someone when like setting up the screens or whatever, the high pick and rolls, and then having him collapse on the boards because they don't respect his jump shot, so they're not playing up on him. Therefore, they're playing back, and it's a lot harder. You can get a lot of charging calls and stuff like that. So it's harder to call plays. James, I'm going to kick this one to you. What happened to Ben? I know you've had some passionate views about Mr. Simmons over the last year or two.
I mean, what's there to say about Ben? I mean, I can't. I mean, the thing about it too, I've been preaching to this choir a lot of saying that he has to shoot a basketball, but this series just showed me, like it if you want to be a liability, if that's the thing, if you want to be, right? What's the one thing liabilities do in like big games? Like, for example, like people who like Allen Iverson and stuff, they shoot the basketball. I never seen a guy so afraid, desperately afraid rather, of shooting a damn basketball. It's like, look, I understand like you practice it all the time and you do this and all that, but do it in the game.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's mind-boggling to me. It's just like I hate when he puts out all these videos out, and I'm going to say right now, I absolutely effing hate it because it's just like all the time he puts all the free throws out. He shoots a three. Oh, he does this and that. Oh, he has a mid-range jumper. And I'm like, if you do it in the game, maybe we wouldn't be talking about this. Then maybe we'll be going to the conference finals instead of sitting at home.
You don't even have to do it with regularity. Do it enough to keep the defenders honest. Paul, what happened to Ben? Paul, what happened to Ben this season, in your opinion?
Well, to me, it's we've seen what he is. I mean, I'm a huge college fan, and watching him at LSU, he was the same way. He was a running gun shooter. I mean, not a shooter, a driver, a slasher, a disher. That's all he did. He averaged 19 points as a freshman, but he sat out the NCAA tournament, which tells you something like, okay, I know I'm going to the pros, but you know what? I'm going to forget the limelight. Everybody's talking about Ben Simmons going to the March Madness. He's the player of the year, basically, but he sat out. To me, that shows you, like, number one, okay, it might be the cash, but you're avoiding the limelight, and that's exactly what he's doing now with the Sixers. He's I don't know what it is. It's like he's just afraid to shoot the ball. I mean, Embiid stepped up this year. He took that as a say, you know what, like, hey, you know what, the triple doink killed me. I'm coming back with vengeance. Well, what do we do? Do we think like Simmons is going to do that now? I don't agree with that. I don't think he will. But Joey, just like you said, move him to the 4. How can you move him to the 4 with no basic 10 to 12 jump shot? He's going to be a one-dimensional player, lobs, and that's pretty much a little jump hook. I wouldn't do that. I couldn't do that. I couldn't put him at the 4.
I think you need to trade him.
That's a good point. Dave, what happened to Ben this year, in your opinion?
What does Ben do best? What does Ben do best? He takes it to the hole.
Distribute. He distributes the basketball.
Okay, but no. But when Ben's on offense and he gets free, what does he do? He takes it to the hole. He can dunk it.
That's what he can do best. That's not what he always does best.
Well, we know that's what he can do best, but that's what Atlanta did. They took that away from him in this series. He couldn't do it. Everything he tried, no breakaways, no dunks, nothing, and that's what Ben Simmons is all about.
We know he had the opportunity in Game 7 for a dunk and passed up on it.
I get that, but it wasn't a breakaway dunk. Is what I'm saying.
The thing is, if you have Atlanta in a half court, if you have the Sixers in a half court game, you're playing 4-on-5. That's
I
basically
get
what
that.
you're playing.
Yep. I understand that, but when you watch games in the regular season, Ben on a breakaway, Ben on a dunk, Ben is the man. He's the greatest thing on earth. But we know he can't shoot. We know he can't dishes off too much. We know what he's about. But what I'm saying is Atlanta took that away from him in this series. That's why he wasn't scoring.
He's like that all the time, Dave.
Well, I get that. But if you watch Ben on breakaways and stuff, he dunks it. He can. He's amazing like that. This wasn't the series for him to get that done. He couldn't do it. They wouldn't let him.
I'm going to chime in and I'm going to address something, and then I'm going to raise a question. So here's the thing: the gripes about Ben are more ever present and magnified now after the Hawks series, but they were present last year. I mean, this is the same conversation
and the year
we
before.
had last year. Well, yeah, but here's the thing: the year before,
and the year before that.
Well, you got to understand is that they were the discussion then, but we were like, he's going to get better. He's going to get better. He's going to get better, and he has and he hasn't in certain regards. It's like his field goal percentage has gone up, but his attempts have gone down. And I don't know why that is. But here's my question I'm going to pose to everybody. How many great players in this league have you seen hit their stride, hit their apex at 24 years old?
Joey, there's one big difference. It's called mental stability.
No.
Okay.
No. Answer the question. How many great players do you remember in the NBA hit their pinnacle? Because remember, you said on the group text yourself, Paul, that we've seen the best out of what we're going to see out of Ben Simmons. So you're saying he's hit his pinnacle at 24. So I'm raising the question: if we're going to compare him to so many other players, how many stud superstar players hit their pinnacle at 24 years old?
How many of those players were you waiting for them to shoot a jump shot in
That's
order
not
to?
the question.
Yes, but in order for them to reach their pinnacle, they need to shoot the basketball in a game where you're supposed to shoot the basketball.
Wait a minute, though. In order to get to your pinnacle, don't you have to work on all parts of your game?
Yes, has he?
Has he?
Well,
Right.
see, here's the thing. He's
Everything
worked on
but the jump
certain
shot.
parts of his game, but he hasn't worked on all of his game. That's the difference. And that doesn't mean that he's not going to get better at the parts of his game that are lacking. That's why I'm bringing up the question. Was every superstar player at like its pinnacle at 24? Did they have all their game figured out by 24?
But I think that's a loaded question, Joey, because every player is totally different. Every player is totally different, Joey. This guy has shown you 4 years, and he still hasn't done what everybody's asked him to do.
First off, and I'll explain to you why it's not a loaded question, and this is why. Because the reason why no one here wants to respond to it is because there is no player, not Jordan, not LeBron, not Curry, not Durant, that hit their pinnacle at 24.
Right, but they all shot the ball.
But they all had to improve their game.
And they did, and he has not yet in the most important part of his game, which is shooting the ball.
Has he not improved his defense? Has he not improved his defense?
He's always had good defense.
We know he's been defensive player of the year. We get that.
This is my point. He went from rookie of the year to should have been defensive player of the year. This guy has shown that he has grown. The problem is everyone wants him to grow on one aspect, not the whole thing. He's grown on other skill sets. That's why I'm saying.
Well, the two skill sets that we want him to grow on, which is foul shooting and shooting. He has not done. He is 5 years into his career, and he literally lost you the Atlanta series. He lost you 2 games. Well, 4, but 5 technically. He lost you 2 games in the Atlanta series. The series itself went the best of 7 games. Has he improved enough? No, not at all.
Right, so he's not at his pinnacle. That's my point of view.
Yes, but that's not the question. The question isn't, is he at his pinnacle? The question is he going to do what he needs to do in order to shore up those pieces of his game, those parts of his game?
I feel like he will, and that's why with what Paul had said at the group text, and that's why I wanted to respond to this, is that I don't feel like everyone who wants to get rid of Ben and move on from Ben and everything like that, it's to my opinion, it's like, okay, so then we're saying that he's hit the ceiling.
Joe, how many number 1 draft picks have you seen getting taken out of a game because they can't make foul shots?
How many number 1 draft picks are still in the league?
Okay.
Number 1 overall.
Now you asked me to answer your question, but you just answered my question with a question.
Right, but I'm answering your question with the fact that there are guys like Giannis who can't hit free throws as well, but
he hits them with more regularity than Ben does.
But the difference between Simmons and Giannis is Giannis knows he can't. He's a 60% free throw shooter, but he takes it to the rack and he goes to the stripe to get fouled.
Well, that's what Ben does too, but he doesn't shoot foul shots. That's all. Ben does the same thing.
Well,
Ben can take to the hole.
And Ben also,
being the operative word.
Giannis also doesn't always kick it out like Ben does. This is where I think the decision making.
Yes, because Giannis isn't afraid to take it to the hole. Ben is. That's why he kicks it out so much.
Ben takes it to the hole when he gets the opportunity.
Here's the thing, Tom. I answered your question, but yet no one has still answered mine. Are we all sitting here saying that? Now, Paul, I know what your answer is, but are we all saying that Ben's hit the ceiling? That he's not going to go any further?
No, I think he can do better on his game.
What is his track record to lead me to believe that he's going to?
The fact that he's worked on other parts of his game and gotten better.
Yeah, but
the major part
you're saying his defense. His defense was always great. That's one of the reasons he was drafted number 1 overall.
His defense was good. It got better. His assist total was good. Got better. His shooting.
How good was this assist against the Atlanta Hawks? He completely disappeared in the Hawks series.
He averaged 9 assists that series.
Well, where'd I go? There I am. Sorry.
I mean, like, here's the thing. He did do his job in that regard. I understand the argument that people have about.
I don't know if you do.
You got.
I don't know if you do.
Well, why?
I don't know. Because
I'm not saying that I'm not frustrated that he doesn't take the shot. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that I have faith that he's going to work on that part of his game, because I feel like if we gave Embiid all this time to progress to where he's at, you're talking about a 2-year difference between Embiid and Simmons. So you think the market's going to change from now and 2 years from now for Ben Simmons? Do you think it's worth? I mean, I know, Tom, you're going to probably touch on this possibly in a couple minutes, but the trade offers that are out there right now for Ben Simmons, in my mind, it's a foolish market, because you're basically saying we're going to shorten the window of the process by 2 years, regardless of who we get.
Joe,
I want
to touch on something that you just said. You said faith. Here is the definition of faith: complete trust or confidence in someone or something. Some synonyms: trust, belief, confidence, conviction, credence, reliance. None of those words, in my opinion, describe how I feel about Ben Simmons going forward with his basketball game.
So
on the offensive side of it.
But assists are on the offensive side.
Right, and you're right. Like, his assists are higher than the league average for point guards. Right. Okay, and I'll give you that. His assists are great. Did his lack of foul shooting cost you a game in this series?
My thing is, it's not just the lack of foul shooting. Yes, to answer your question, yes. But to add into that, I agree with what everyone has been saying, including Dave. It's that he has to have that instinct to go to the hole and know who he is. And that's what frustrates me as a fan. And as a person that, is a big fan of Ben, I know he's capable of doing it. Maybe not everyone else here does, but I know what he is capable of doing. I've seen the skill set that he has. And I also know that the measurables that he has. So I look at all of that and I go, okay, why isn't he just attacking and making people look stupid? But I think he's more fearful of making himself look stupid. And I think he's got to get that out of his own headspace.
If you'll allow me, can I make a comparison real quick? Joey, do you think that Carson Wentz should still be here?
Yes.
Okay. Why?
Because I felt like if you well, first off, because I think he was a great talent.
Okay.
Let me start with that. And second off, I don't think he should have felt any kind of way about Jalen Hurts coming in. I feel like you play to the ability that you're able to play with.
What do you think was the inevitable factor which led him to Indianapolis?
I feel like it was two factors. I felt like it was his mindset towards his role on the team with Jalen Hurts coming in, and I felt like it was his affinity for Frank Wright.
Okay, so let's take the first one you said there. Do you think that Ben Simmons is in that same boat?
No, because I don't think he's intimidated by like a Maxey or a Shake. I don't think he's intimidated by the guy behind him. I also don't think he has an affinity with anybody other than maybe a location. I think he wants to maybe go the West. I've heard that on a couple different stories that he may want to go to California or out West or anything like that. So maybe he has affinity there, but I don't find the first thing.
You don't think his headspace was messed up this season?
I think he messed his own headspace up.
Well, I mean, you don't.
I don't think anybody else did.
That's what Carson did. Carson
messed his headspace up.
Exactly.
Because Doug Peterson brought in Jalen Hurts. The organization brought in Jalen. So he thought.
So you don't think a coach taking him out, shooting free throws, taking him out of a game, you don't think that's the same effect that Doug Peterson bringing in a backup for Carson would have? You don't think a coach taking your number one overall draft pick and supposed to be one of the big three players on your team out because he's a liability on the offensive side of the floor. Now, we talk about defensive liabilities all the time. Korkmaz, J.J. Redick was a defensive liability. Even Seth Curry, and he plays better defense than both of those guys. Your number one overall draft pick, your 24-year-old phenom, is an offensive liability at times, at least.
I disagree in the sense that
At times.
Ben Simmons was told by Doc Rivers
At the most important times, Dave. At the most important times.
Doc Rivers told Ben Simmons, if you're making the free throws, I'm keeping you in. He made the understanding ahead of time. If you make the free throws, I'm keeping you in. If you don't, I'm taking you out. That's what he said. So he made it clear to Ben. With Doug Peterson, in that comparison, Doug and the organization didn't say anything to.
How do we know? How do we know? How do we know they didn't?
Well, first off, when you have a monument that's put out in front for your backup,
that Bud Light ship to the Eagles. The Eagles did not have that bill.
Right, but they didn't. They could have said no. They could have said no.
Well,
Sure.
It was a sponsorship for the statue.
Right.
Didn't want nothing to do with
But
it.
a sponsorship is just saying we're going to build the monument. They can't build the monument in front.
Yeah, but you're not gonna tell a multi-million-dollar sponsor no.
Well, they paid you the money. They don't need. They already paid you the money for the sponsorship.
Yeah, I know, and you want them to continue to pay you, right?
I think Carson lost his mojo.
What's worth
I think
more?
Carson lost his mojo. Lost his mojo when Foles won the Super Bowl. He was done with that.
Right.
He didn't want anything to do with it.
What's worth more, $30 million that you're paying Carson Wentz, or a $100,000 sponsorship from Bud Light?
Well,
What's worth more?
maybe they thought that they had a different caliber of a person in Carson. Maybe they thought they had somebody in a different mindset than Carson was, and obviously that did affect them. I'm just saying, maybe to tie it all back together with the Sixers, maybe there were some things that got inside Ben's head, and you're saying that he still has room for improvement.
Every player has room for improvement. Every player has room for improvement.
I'm
Not
gonna
just
say this,
Ben Simmons.
Dave, you're talking about improvement. Okay, there's a difference between Ben Simmons and other players. My favorite players are Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, and I'm sorry to say it, Larry Bird. Those players had killer instincts where they wanted to make themselves better. Ben Simmons does not have that. I'm sorry. I've always been on like the Simmons fence.
You know who has that killer instinct? Trae Young.
I'm gonna say one thing and then I gotta go. I'm gonna say this, and you guys can disagree, and that's fine. But listen, I'm a Ben Lever because of one thing and one thing only. I feel like this kid has more to offer this team than what he's already shown. And if you look at the resume for other players that have proven that in the league history, it's not completely off base.
I know you got to go, but I want you to think about something real quick before you leave. How many years have been not improving on those things will it take for you to say, okay, well, maybe he has reached his pinnacle? How long?
2 years.
So in two more years of horrible foul shooting, not taking one jump shot.
In your opinion, I feel like he'll be better.
Yeah, no, but I'm saying if he hasn't improved, you said it would take 2 years.
That's if he's still here.
It would take 2 years to improve.
He may not be here. We don't know that, and we don't know.
That's true. Well, look, Joey, have fun at your families, and I will talk to you later.
Love you guys.
Later, bro.
Later.
Okay. So Joey had to cut out, but we will push on. And why is my mouse being?
Well,
there we go.
Like I said, that's if he's still here. We don't know that for sure. I mean, he could be gone tomorrow for all we know. But I don't.
Let's use that as a segue. Opinions around the table, around the board right now. Paul, I'll start with you. Is Ben Simmons here next year?
You know what? Right now, yeah. I mean, I don't know what the package is going to be out there. I don't want to give up him for a bag of peanuts. I mean, there's got to be something out there. You know, of the legitimate starter and a draft pick. I mean, this guy is still young. I agree with that, but I'm not going to give him up for a bag of peanuts. You got to give me something out there that's going to be legit. You have to give me a score that's going to make this team better. I don't just want a body on the court. I don't want that.
Me neither.
You got to get a guy like if you want to get Ben Simmons, like if you want to trade value, like you got to get someone great of return back, like a Damian Lillard or even like a CJ McCollum, excuse me, but not even or someone like in that made like someone that big. I mean, if you're just again like what Paul said, a bag of peanuts, then it's just like screw it. I guess we got to keep Ben.
There's one player in my mind who would actually fit good in the Sixers offense and be great for Embiid and even everybody. I think Bradley Beal, man, go get him. He would fit on this offense perfectly. He shoots the ball, everything. Bradley Beal would be perfect for the Sixers, my opinion.
So that's another thing too, and Joey brings up Ben's assists. And look, I go at Joey because I respect his skills in arguing, and I know that if I can make a point on him, that's saying something. Not that anybody else or even myself aren't good arguers or anything like that, but Joey stands hard and stands fast on his. Oh,
he's a Ben lover. We know that for sure.
Yes,
he loves Ben.
Yes.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
And with all due respect to Joey, there's not much he could say to defend how Ben played in this series.
I'm a Pat Burrow lover. I love Pat. I was all about Five. I'm all about Five.
You and half the ladies in Philly.
I love Five. I was all about him because he was, when he came to the league, he was a left hander.
That's the real number 5 will always love you.
That's what I'm saying. The official 5 is Burrow. Forget McNabb. I mean, come on. But whatever. It is what it is.
Tom,
Pat won a World Series here, so you can't say nothing. So
nope.
Tom, let me ask you this real quick. I know we talked about this on a previous show. Russell Westbrook. If they offered you Russell Westbrook, he wants out of Washington. He's done. He just wants a title. Bring him in for 2 years and have the Wizards give you 2 first-round picks the following years. Would you take that? For Simmons?
I can't look at his face for 2 years. No.
No, but looking at a face is going to get you a championship. I mean, the boy has heart. He's
I can't see.
I love him.
Just look at him.
I would do a trade for Bradley Beal, like Davis.
I would take Bradley Beal.
You're not going to make a straight up trade like that. No. You would have to go picks, money, and Ben.
Mm-hmm.
At minimum, picks and Ben.
If that's what it takes to get Bradley here, I'm all for it.
But listen, think about from Ben's position. If you get half of his assists but quadruple his points, okay. So if you take that 9.5 and you cut it down to 4.5 assists, but you got Beal dropping 30.
That's what I'm saying.
Instead of Ben dropping 4, that's
I'd rather have Beal dropping 30. Are you kidding?
And when it comes to foul shots, they're not going to be hacking Bradley. It won't be a hack of Brad.
No.
And that's what I'm talking about.
But that takes the pressure off Embiid, though. That takes the pressure off Embiid if Bradley Beal's sitting there giving you 30, 35 a night. I'm good with it.
And then think about Tobias. Tobias can play his role in that mid-range game.
And you have Curry shooting the lights out. Are you kidding? This team would be dangerous.
This team was dangerous without
not that it's dangerous. Not that it's not dangerous now, and it was. It's just we know what we went through with Ben. That's all. And Ben doesn't bother me as much as you guys. I don't know. Maybe it's me.
It's not just you. My mom. I just got a text from Mrs. Kelly. Let's read this one out here. Oh, the first text is, Daddy said Wentz was a great player. I don't disagree. He got inside his own head, and that's a whole other story. But my mother wrote, professional basketball players should be able to make 85 to 90% of their free throws. That's from my mom, okay? Exactly. My mom, who doesn't really follow basketball like that, but you're literally getting paid millions of dollars.
Two words on that. Shaquille O'Neal. Really? Come on.
Yeah, but Shaq's a little different.
He was the worst
averaged like 30 points a game his entire career.
But he couldn't hit foul shots to save his life.
Yeah, but he couldn't hit foul shots, but he could score in the paint.
Okay, there's 1 out of 2.
There's an old school saying.
And he's a center, not a point guard.
Right. Dave, everybody calls the free throw line the free throw line. Back in the day, if you're old like me, 50, in that area, we called them charity stripes.
I remember that.
Throwing them underhanded.
You should. Rick Barry days. Why not?
I know.
Like, come on. Like, there's a big difference. Shaq and Ben.
I get it.
James.
I don't get this with those.
James, you played high school ball, right? Basketball?
I did too. Go ahead.
CYO.
CYO. Okay.
I played high school ball. But go
All
ahead.
right, you played high school basketball. Can you
Yes,
shoot
sir.
more? You think you could hit more foul shots than Ben Simmons?
Oh yeah, I
In my-
could.
with my eyes closed.
Okay. Joey Marks has a visual impairment. I would put Joey to hit as many as Ben hit.
I'll take that.
That's straight up. Like
take
people
that
who people who like people like us who don't make millions of dollars. If we can come close to giving you a run for your money with free throws, there's a problem.
Yeah.
Something ain't right. You're right.
I know for sure since you brought it up. I mean, like my coach always told me this one question, and my friend also, as another coach, he told me about this too, is that if you see the ball, pass the ball and shoot the ball. It's like pass and shoot. Common sense basketball. The thing about it too, the one thing Ben has that really bothers me is just like pass, and pass. Instead of being, well, if he's a football player, he can pass. But in basketball, you have to have two things, and that is pass and shoot. And if you don't have those two damn things, then you shouldn't be in this league. I'm sorry.
To answer your question, Fred and Butter, I see you said something about Kyle Lowry. Yeah, I would love Kyle Lowry too, but you're not. I don't think he's going to come here. To be honest with you, that's just me.
But Tom, reading that comment right there, how can he move Ben to the 4 if he has no legitimate 10 to 12 foot jumper?
That's the problem, especially in with the tweeners that you got in today's league that can play. Giannis can play every position on the floor.
Right.
But and he can shoot. At least with more regularity and a better percentage than Ben. And I know Joey brought up the fact that Giannis isn't that great of a free throw shooter either. But, I mean, in my opinion, Ben's one of the worst in the league at it.
Right, but there's a difference between him and Giannis. Giannis attacks that rim knowing that he can't shoot free throws. He's going to go to the line, and you know what?
Ben does too when he's on a breakaway.
When?
Giannis
on a breakaway.
Giannis is on a breakaway every time you turn around.
Giannis brings the ball down in a half-court game, isolates himself one-on-one, and takes it to the hole. What does Simmons do on a half-court? No, Dave, what does Simmons do in a half-court game?
There's no love in Cowboy Town.
Dave, in a half-court game, what does Simmons do? He sets a screen and doesn't roll off of it. There's a difference between Simmons and Giannis. Giannis attacks. Simmons sets the screen and goes back to the half-court line. And says,
Dave, with his length too, especially with his length on pick and rolls, like he would be a great 4, and he would be a hybrid 4 if he could develop a mid-range jumper.
There's no team that can run with the Sixers. The Sixers run the court more than anybody I've ever seen.
But Dave, the question is when they
Dave, they're not in it anymore. Obviously,
Atlanta
exposed
you not running a full court running gun game. When you're in a half court game, Atlanta exposed you. You're playing
okay. They took it away from us. I get that. That's fine. But I'm saying, you're right. I'm not.
If no team can run with the Sixers, then Atlanta knew that. They did exactly what they needed to do to mitigate that.
They took the Sixers run game away. Is what they did. That's why Ben was not. That's why Ben was not existent in the series.
And to touch on what Freddie Burns, Fred and Butter, I like that one, is saying. I would love to have Kyle Lowry here. Kyle Lowry, Philly kid.
Is that Freddie Burns? I didn't even know that was Freddie. I'm sorry.
Man, Fred and Butter, baby. But,
I wasn't even. Fault.
So that's what I'm saying. Kyle Lowry. I mean, Philly kid in here. Shit. And he already didn't like Ben. So imagine you bring him in here and Ben goes.
Well, they had a shot at that earlier in the season. They didn't do it. They didn't go after Kyle Lowry for.
Tom, let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question real quick. Get off Simmons real quick. How long do you think Embiid's going to be in this league with his issues, his injuries, and everything? What is his ceiling? How long is he going to?
I'll give him another 2 years, two years at the moment.
I give him 4 to 6 years, and he'll be out of the league if he continues to flop at the rate that he's doing it.
Are they wasting Ben Simmons I'm sorry, Embiid right now because of
the people in Atlanta were calling him Floppy Joe. Sloppy Joe. I laughed for a day straight after I heard that. I'm sorry, Dave. What was your question? I'm sorry.
No, I said, are they wasting Embiid at this point in time because of what we're seeing in these playoff series and everything?
Every year you don't win a title with this team, you're wasting Embiid.
Are you wasting this kid?
Yeah.
I love Joel. I'm a Joel fan. I love this kid.
You know what? I mean, we watch a lot of college basketball. When Embiid came out of Kansas, he couldn't shoot anything. He was just a dominant low post player. And look at what he's done so far. Now he's a 3-point threat. He's a one-man show.
Well, he's shooting threes because he doesn't want to bang low underneath. That's why.
But there's a difference. Okay, he's one of a kind. Him, Joker, and I want to say like Anthony Davis, and there's certain players that will.
They're all the same player,
but there's a difference between he expanded his game. Okay, Simmons is a hybrid. I've always said I've never been a Simmons lover, but this guy could be an MVP All-Pro every year if he actually got a jump shot. He can be one of a kind. But there's a difference. He won't work on it, though, Dave. He will not work on this. That's why I said in the group chat, his ceiling is set. We've seen what he can do, and it's a mental thing. I think the Sixers, what they need to do, get rid of Korkmaz, get rid of Scott. Danny Green's on the border, but here's the thing.
Danny Green's going to stay. He's not going anywhere. I don't think
the Sixers need to bring in a shrink. That's what they need to do if they want to keep Simmons.
Well, wasn't his brother working with him? And that was
his brother's the one who posts. His brother's the one who posts Instagram videos of edited videos of him shooting threes all day long.
Right. I get it, but maybe his brother shouldn't have been working with him. Maybe somebody else.
I think he needs a shrink.
I think the one thing he needs to go to is Joe Fish. He's a sports psychiatrist. And I think for him, he has to be that's the thing he has to do, is go to a sports psychiatrist to get that shit straight out.
Straight up. If you ever watch the movie The Natural with Robert Redford, they need that shrink. Winning losing is a disease.
Right.
I'm just annoyed getting to the second round and losing. It's so annoying. I'm just tired of that.
Same different coaching staff, same result.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you're blaming him. So Brett Brown had nothing to do with this, right? So Brett Brown's sitting there saying, "Oh, I lost on a double doink or a triple doink, whatever."
The Brett Brown got us the players. That's all I can say he did for us. But Doc Rivers, just like Joey said, his record is bad in the playoffs.
Now he's 6-9 in Game 7s alone. Come on.
Wow. It's it was like during the season. Doc dialed up, it could do no wrong. And in the playoffs, it's like the playoffs get to him too.
Right.
You're overthinking, and I understand that playoff basketball is a lot different than regular season basketball. And we all know that, and obviously due to the stakes being higher. But a lot of playoff basketball goes to the half court, and you lose a lot of the full court game. And that's what happened to the Sixers. And they ran into a buzzsaw.
Paul said this to me, I think it was the other day, I don't know, maybe a few days ago, whatever it was. Could you imagine, now honestly, the three of you, did we ever think that Atlanta would take 3 games on our court? No. Honestly, you can honestly sit there and say that Atlanta was going to win 3 games at Wells Fargo Center. No way.
I was watching LA Sports Radio yesterday.
I didn't think any team in this league could win 3 games there in a row.
Right.
Blew me away.
Well, it wasn't in a row, but almost in a row.
Close enough.
Tom, I was watching LA Sports Radio yesterday. They were interviewing Tyronn Lue, and they were talking about the Clippers being 0-2 in every series being down and coming back to win, 4-3, 4-2. And they asked Tyronn Lue, what about this team that you've never made it to the conference finals, with Doc Rivers here? And he's like, Doc Rivers is past history. I'm Tyronn Lue. I play games day to day. I manage games day to day. I do everything day to day.
He's the Belichick of the NBA.
That's something to me right there. Okay, you manage games game to game. They took Ben Simmons out of the game. You're playing a half-court game. You know what? You've got to come up with a philosophy that, be better. Tyronn Lue has done that. That's why I've never been a Doc Rivers. Glenn Rivers is what I call him now. I don't call him Doc anymore.
I think Monty Williams is a better coach. I think Monty Williams is a better coach than Tyronn Lue, honestly. That's just my opinion.
And now what? Chauncey Billups is out. He's in Portland now.
Did he go there? Did he sign?
Yeah.
And how about Jason Kidd went back to Dallas, I believe, right?
Yeah.
But I don't believe in Jason Kidd. Jason Kidd's never really had that good record. He's under 500.
He's just under 500 as a head coach.
Yeah.
And like Tyronn Lue got a lot of bad press because everybody was saying it was LeBron's team and all that. Tyronn Lue's pretty smart, man.
He is.
Pretty smart.
But normally in the playoffs, home court means a lot. It really does. I mean, it's a huge thing. Now, going back to Milwaukee or Atlanta, I think Atlanta wins 2 out there, honestly. That's just me.
Why can't this team make it past the second round? James, why do you think this Sixers team has such a hard time, different coaching staffs and everything, has such a hard time of getting to this Eastern Conference final?
It's the same old shit, different year. That's exactly what it is. It's just like if you want to become a great team, you have to find a ways, like you said, win in the second round. And this year was no different. I mean, this year was unacceptable. We had so much high expectations. We were actually saying, I was saying to myself too. I was saying this yesterday. I was like, dude, I was really tempted. I was really excited to see this team actually win a title. I was really zoned into my TV this year. I never watched a lot of Sixers games, maybe back a long time during the Brett Brown years, but this team was different. And now losing 3 games at home is something that is absolutely mind-boggling to me. It's just
I agree.
You know what I mean? It's just, and the other thing too that makes it even worse is that you lost to the Hawks. It's not, it's just the Hawks now. No, I'm going to say it again. You lost to the fucking Hawks.
Wow.
James,
Thank
tell
you,
us how
James.
you really feel.
Really
James.
feel.
Holy smokes.
Yeah, James, I feel that emotion right here, buddy. Man,
That's all right, James. I appreciate the fire,
right,
dude.
the passion.
Part of my friends. I'm sorry, man.
Don't apologize. How about I've asked, is he going to be gone? That we don't know that. We've talked about, hey, maybe we underestimated this Hawks team, but what James just said, to lose 3 games on your home court, if you had to ask me at the beginning of these playoffs, could the Sixers lose 3 home games in any potential series that they have? I would have told you no. I would have told you no.
In the beginning, like near the end of the regular season, we all got on here and we all were saying we have to get home court advantage throughout the playoffs. Yep. What the hell did that do for us this year? It did nothing. I just don't get it. We knew if we got home court advantage, we're gonna run through the playoffs at home. We're not losing at home. If we go to Game 7 will be rocking at the center. But what the hell happened? It didn't mean crap this year. It really didn't.
I thought.
Did the Embiid? Go ahead. No, Dave, you go. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, I thought when Embiid dunked that ball and that place was erupting, I thought right then there they're going to win this.
Did the Embiid injury have a bigger impact than we might be thinking?
I don't think it did. He played balls
Possibly.
out. I mean, he played. He
did. But could he have done more if he wasn't injured?
I think so.
How bad was the meniscus tear? And then how much was pain mitigation a factor in Embiid? Maybe not put instead of a 22 or 6 point game, maybe as a 40-point one.
Basketball is a team game. I mean, Curry stepped up. Harris had some good games. The bench showed up. Maxey played. Shake played. But
basketball is a team.
But where was the one guy that we needed the most?
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Let's not forget too. The Nets lost too, so it's not like we're the only team that got knocked out.
No, that's true. And basketball is a team game, but it is a team game. But one guy, i.e., Ben Simmons, can help you lose a game, and he definitely. We lost one game because of his free throw shooting.
I mean, our grade 3 didn't do so hot. Neither did the other grade 3. So I don't want to hear it.
Right.
I'm going to express this now. As I said, Gargano brought this up last week, and I totally agree with it. This is worse than Tampa Bay, and this is worse than the bloody nil game.
I don't know about Tampa Bay.
It's up there. I mean, I'll say 1A.
The Tampa game. I was in the house for that one.
Is Jared Fish still running, by the way? I was just running.
With the way it started, I'm going to ignore you and continue on with my point. With the way that game started, with Brian Mitchell almost taking that kick return back, and I tell this story all the time, and it's like a broken record, and I'm sure people are tired of hearing it, but I blew a blood vessel over my eye. As he was returning that kick, I remember screaming so loud and just hearing a little click like that. And then the guy sitting next to me was like, "Bro, what'd you do to your eye? It's all red." And I went to the doctor's the next day with no voice. I went, he was like, "What happened?" I said that Brian Mitchell kick return. He was like, "Oh man, that was amazing." I said, "Yeah," and it was that game ripped my soul out. I still have nightmares of that game. Rondé Barber running down the sidelines. I would literally hit him with my car if he was crossing the street. I would run him over with my car. Well, listen, it was going to be a short show. Joey, there is a Help the Homeless event in July. Contact Freddie Burns, or if you reach out to me, I'll put you in touch with him. Let's go through our sponsors and our shows one more time before we cut out here. Let's start off with Fantees.com. Use the promo code EdgeOfPhilly, and you get 20% off your order at Fantees.com today. While you're online making some purchases, why don't you hop on over to EdgeOfPhilly.com and pick yourself up one of these great Edge of Philly hats. Like I said, I had the green one and the orange one, and I was rocking them down the shore all last week. They come in green and cream, black and white, charcoal and red, and charcoal and orange. Don't forget Philly sports trips the week of July 5th. The Phils are going to both Fenway and Wrigley in the same week with airfare, hotels, tickets to the game, tailgate, all included. Go to phillysportstrips.com to check those guys out. The network, Broad Street Bullies podcast. The boys Drew, Doyle, and Jeff, they're on Sundays at 8. Bird's IQ with Kyle and Eric Quinn. They are on Sundays at 7 p.m. Don't forget my guys over at Philly Press Box Radio, Jim Chatchesko and Bill the Embiid Hater Furman. I kind of like that nickname. We'll see if it can stick. They're on Wednesday nights at 7 p.m. I watch them guys every week. And I can't forget about my boys, Big Al, Joey Sheeran, and Freddie Burns over at the Edge of Philly Sports Show. They're on Wednesday nights at 9:30. For all you lacrosse heads out there, can't forget Kevin and Gary. Nobody does it better in the business than the boys over at Lax Philly. There will be live shows coming soon. They have articles and videos and other stuff out there, but as soon as we figure out when those live shows are coming, we will send them your way. Listen, so that's it for this week's show. I wanted to kind of close out the Sixers season. Joey had to jump off early, so we're going to shut it down early. But for Joe Marks, for James Scorza, for Dave Yarnell, for Paul Spencer, for Damon Salim, I'm Tom Kelly. This is the Pattison Ave Phanatics Show, and we're out of here. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in.
Thanks, everybody.
Take it easy, boys.
Later, all. Have